Too many dreams, books, millionaires, ideas, skills, unfinished accomplishments are in the grave. Take a moment and think, what am I doing between the dash? You have to move right now because tomorrow is not promised. Join the Divine Connections movement in a couple of ways. 1, download the app for free. 2, subscribe to Divine Connections magazine. 3, if you have a book, a product, a service, gospel music, business, health and wellness product, church, or anything creative, join the Divine Connections Movement VIP and make a commitment to join a network that supports others, give you major exposure, customer retention, and customer engagement. To find out more about VIP, text 336-338-8903 or email divineconnectionsmagazine@gmail.com.
Businesses all across the planet are looking to make connections with people. Well, guess what? Divine Connections magazine is helping businesses not only walk in their purpose and passions, but to get connected to their potential. That's right. You've got to connect to your potential, and you can make it happen now because it is time to know your worth. As you get connected to people all across the planet, Divine Connections magazine will make it happen. And get featured in the magazine today and get your copy now, because there's no other time than a divine time to get connected to Divine Connections magazine.
Great day, everyone. I am your host, Deloris Williams with Divine Connections. Make sure you like and share and do a comment during this broadcast. So Divine Connection is a faith-based and inspirational magazine that comes out quarterly in print as well as online. We connect with different businesses, entrepreneurs, gospel artists, praise dance moms, vendors, authors, pastors, anyone that's doing something great in the community. And then twice a year, we have 2 big events, one in March, which is my anniversary, where we bring in praise dance groups, moms, speakers, quartet groups, choirs, panels as well. We talk about different things going on in life, and then we talk about just different things that we can connect and have resources for as well. And we network and worship together with our vendors and our sponsors as well. And we've been around for 13 years. And so our next event is October 14th, which is going to be our Bring It event. We are bringing different organizations together at the Mebane Arts Center. That's going to be Saturday, October the 4th at 11 a.m. All right. So we're going to have praise dance groups, moms, vendors, youth vendors. We're also going to have gospel step teams as well as spoken word sponsors. We're going to have nonprofit organizations coming in to take blood pressures, talking about the elderly and different resources they have available for that as well, radio stations. So we're going to have a phenomenal time. So mark your calendar for Saturday, October the 4th at the Mebane Arts Center. It's only $5 to attend, and then 10 and under are free. Okay. So definitely make sure you make your way there Saturday, October the 14th. Okay. At the Mebane Arts Center. And then I have an app that is available. So you can now download our app from your Google Play Store or your Apple Play Store, Divine Connections magazine. Download that, and then after you install it, you can create a profile. Let us know who you are, what you do, and connect with us. We also have ambassadors on our app who are experts in their lane, so then you can also connect with them and find different resources and connections there as well. We also have our Divine Connection store is now available. We have over 100 products, our shirts, our jackets, our hats, our mugs, all of those things you can find in the store. And if you purchase something in the store and wear it at the event, your name will go into a raffle, possibly to win something. So definitely do that. And then also just we're expanding the brand. So let somebody know that they are Divine Connections, and you get your Divine Connections up here as well. All right, so I'll show you a little bit of video about more about that a little bit later as well. And then here on Wednesdays between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. we have our podcast. So we are looking for individuals who are doing great things in the community. If you want to be a guest on our lives, just let us know and we'll see if you're a good fit, and we'll go from there. So stay tuned into Divine Connections podcast. And so now I'm going to share just a little bit with you about our October 14th event. Just give you a little clip of what happened last year. So hold tight. Awesome. So you definitely want to get your tickets. Now I'm going to show you just a little clip of what you can find in our store. Take those things into consideration. Now we're going to go to our sponsors and we'll be right back.
The bad news is suicides rise again in the U.S., increases highest among Black people ages 10 to 24. People need hope. The good news is hope is on the way. Join Mothers in Crisis Hope Pass It On campaign. Please visit makeahopeconnection.com. Hope, pass it on, and save a life.
Well, I gave you all my love.
Awesome. So definitely stay connected with Divine Connections. Listen, if you want to contact me, be on the show, be in the magazine, be at an event, be a sponsor or a vendor, you can text 336-338-8903 or email divineconnectionsmagazine@gmail.com. Get your ticket for the event at divineconnectionsmagazine.com events. Okay. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe to our website so you can join our email list to get all the information of news and updates of what's going on at divineconnectionsmagazine.com. Our Facebook page is Divine Connections Marketing, so like us there. You can follow us on Instagram at Divine Connections, and our YouTube channel is The Divine Connections. Make sure you subscribe and click the notification button there as well. If you have not gotten your copy of Divine Connections, the magazine, it is available. It comes out quarterly. So if you want to get in the next issue, I am working on that right now. We have just a couple of more days for you to get in the next issue. So you can purchase the current issue and from this website that's below, or you can also get half page or full page advertisement, and your ad runs for 3 months. Of course, that's upon approval. All right. So go to our website, divineconnectionsmagazine.com/special-pricing. All right. If you would like to be a sponsor on this show and you have a 30-second commercial upon approval, and if it fits with this program, we do a 3-month agreement for $150, and we will love to share your information about your business and what you're doing to the masses. So that's a 3-month agreement for only $150 if you have a 30-second commercial and upon approval. Okay, so if you want to be a sponsor, let us know and tell us who you are and what you do. We also have my second book, which is called The Key Connector: How to Build an Empire Helping People. So I talk about having faith in the God that I serve, as well as what I have accomplished in my personal as well as business life with having faith and trusting in the God that I serve. So if you want to know how I do what I do, Get the book. It's on Amazon as well as Walmart.com, and then you can purchase it from me as well. Okay. If you need a 30-second or a 60-second commercial for your business, ministry, your book, gospel group, or event, we serve in that capacity as well. So if you need one created, we would love to serve you as well. We also this year have our journals, and it's called Making It Happen. You are a divine connection. You are. We write the vision, make it plain, and then we also execute and we celebrate. All right. So make sure you guys get a journal for yourselves as well as some other family members, and it's a great gift as well. And let people know that you are a divine connection. All right. Don't forget to go and download our app at Divine Connections Magazine from your Google or Apple store, and then go check out our store. And with over 100 products, bit.ly/divine connection store. Okay, we are grateful for all of those opportunities. And now for our second half, our special guest is in the house, and I'm so excited about it because she has a wealth of information. All right, so let me bring Miss Karen Jones in to introduce herself.
Hey,
Great
hey,
day.
hey. Hi, everyone.
Hey, how
How are
are
you doing?
you?
I'm well. I'm well. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you.
Oh, you're very welcome. So let's get into it. Tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from.
Well, I am an educator by training. So my whole thing is about um, making sure that everyone has the information to move forward smartly, be it in a classroom environment, being in a life environment, or even being in a midlife environment. I am originally from New York. I'm a third generation educator. So my great grandmother, my grandmother, my mother, and I am an educator. So it's
Uh,
kind of our family business. And as much as I tried to run away from it, here I am. Um, what else about me is interesting and different? I have been every kind of permutation of just about everything. I'm that person who said before they throw that dirt on me or they pour me in that urn, I wanted to say that I've lived enough life to say, "Ooh, that was good. God, thank you for that. That
mhm.
was a great ride," because
Yeah.
this is not a dress rehearsal.
Right, right. Absolutely, absolutely. And so you are doing phenomenal, phenomenal things in the community. I don't even know where to start. I know we want to talk about midlife crisis, but let's start about tell us what it is that you do and how you got started.
All right. I How I got here was at 35, I started perimenopause. I was working a sales job, very high stress. I was drinking 2 to 3 cups of coffee, smoking, high stress, getting up early, late. I was grossly overweight. And it just really kind of threw my body out of whack. And about that time, my mother got sick. So that was another layer of stress. And I knew things were happening to my body, but no one could explain it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember saying to my mom, I don't feel like myself. So I set about losing the weight. I set about changing my priorities. My spiritual life changed, but my body was still out of whack. And I remember I was on a project. I kind of came out of the regular 9 to 5, and I was a contractor because I
Mm-hmm.
wanted some extra time. And I remember being on the floor and the shower floor in a hotel in Miami, in a full fetal, sobbing like, God, what is wrong with me? Why don't I feel like myself? And
Mm-hmm.
started doing some research on menopause and midlife and realized that what doctors couldn't explain to me, the same thing. I had fibroids, and they were like, oh, they just kind of were stabbing at things.
Yeah, yeah.
And I realized they don't know. And I remember one time praying, saying, God, you made this body. Help
Mm-hmm.
me figure out what's going on with this body and what do I do to get it together.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I learned along this journey is that Black women and white women do not experience midlife and menopause in the same way
Mm-hmm.
because of our DNA, because of our lives, because of the innate stressors that we have. We don't experience midlife in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So changed my diet, changed my stressors,
Yeah.
um, changed a lot of things of how I was living my life, but it was still the same. And as I've said, one of the things I posted on Instagram is I have had every single symptom that is connected to menopause.
Yeah.
Sounds unbelievable, except for two, and I'm super grateful for not having those. Not one. And I realized in 2017 that there were other women and their husbands or partners who were like, what the hell is happening to my person? Or what is happening to me? Because your skin doesn't feel the same. Your hair is not the same. Your teeth are not the same. Your things like your body's ability to regulate stress as well as the hot flashes. It's a lot of things feel like they're outside of your
Yeah.
control. And because of how a lot of us are built and because of the presence of cancer in our families, we're not able to take the traditional hormone replacement that a lot of our white female counterparts do. So I got to the point where I started talking to women about menopause, because when I started talking about this, women were not talking about it. Men were not comfortable. It's like, she's going through the change. There's something wrong with my wife. Hopefully she'll come back. And I started really studying what happens in this arc. And when does it start? What is it? And I realized that midlife is a transition that impacts not just women, but men as well. But because the decline of estrogen in our bodies is so rapid, it seems real fast that women change. With men, it's a progressive change in the drop in testosterone. So all of a sudden you look up and you're like, oh my God, what happened to you? When did you beget knees? When did you get breasts, sir? And so it's that slow drop in testosterone. And then they change. With us, it's like you have that girl feeling like, girl, where'd that beard come from? So it's like that drop in estrogen, and then she's there. So in my kind of study and my talking and trying to cultivate courses, I wrote books, I did seminars and webinars, and then I got here, and now I'm doing a podcast. Because it's not just women, it's not just men, it's all of us. The same way you were going through puberty and your body was changing, and people go, oh, girl, didn't your mama put deodorants on you? Or when did oh, what happened? When did you get so tall? Or when did your voice get so deep? All of the sudden changes now are in the reverse. And it's time we talk about it and got more information about it. So that's how I got here.
Yeah, I know. When I talked with you, I was interested because I went through a little premenopause myself, and I didn't know what was going on. And so it took me from, I think, October. Well, it took me about, I don't know, it seemed like 9 months to go through the process, and I didn't even know what was going on until I asked for another doctor. And then they finally told me I had fibroids, and then they had to do surgery and all of that. And I'm like, why didn't the first doctor see it? I went there 3 times. And so they was just trying to stop the bleeding. And I'm like, okay, but why am I doing this? And all of that. So it was a process for me. And I had really never heard of it, all of that. But when I started talking about it, then I heard other people talk about it. And I'm like, how come I'll never hear people talking about this? And so that kind of opened my eyes, that I want to talk more about it. So when I met you, it was awesome, so that you can share some insight of, menopause and maybe some things we go through and some things that can help us as well.
Okay. All right. Well, first thing I want to share is that this is one of the worst kept secrets. It's midlife. Everyone's going through it unless you're in a box or in an urn. You're going to go through midlife. Midlife is not menopause. Midlife is not andropause. Andropause is the male version of menopause, and menopause is what is specific to women. Men are going through parallel experiences in the same way in adolescence. They go through parallel hormonal increases. They go through the same thing with decreases. With menopause, there's really no definitive start. We know there is a range. There is such a thing called suddenly menopause. Those are the women who have surgical menopause. So that can happen to a woman with polycystic ovaries, someone who has uterine cancer, someone who has very, very bad fibroids. Sometimes doctors will try. I remember when I was 24 or 25, my gynecologist at the time told me I needed a full hysterectomy because I had fibroids. And I was like, oh, you smoke crack. I was like, that's not for me. I said, no, sir. So there are some professionals, providers who either ignore what's happening with our bodies, particularly as women of color, or they go all the way over to the right and they want to kind of rip everything out. So that's about menopause in that sense. Menopause has 5 different stages. You have premenopause, perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause. Okay. So those are the 4 different stages of menopause that you'll go through. No one's time in that stage is the same. Perimenopause, generally women spend about anywhere from 10 to 13 years in perimenopause. So you'll kind of be there. And I tell people you are not in menopause until you have most doctors will say 12 months without your period. I say give it the baker's dozen and say 13, because it's that unlucky woman who in that 12 months she ovulates and then it's like, guess what? You're gonna be a mom. Yeah, 50 years old, you really want to be a mom. So I always say to people, you struck pay dirt on that 13th month. So those are, that's the definition of that time. The ending of it, postmenopause, menopause kind of takes its time. It's truly on Mosey. Some women do not have any symptoms. Some women have everything from night sweats to hot flashes to urinary incontinence to hair loss to change in body odor to thickening around the middle. When people say you get love handles, how men and women in their 40s and 50s tend to thicken around the waist. That's that's when that ghrelin, that's a hormone that gets out of balance in your body that creates that weight gain rather, which makes it harder to, and as well as becoming insulin resistant. That's when you start to see a lot of people become pre-diabetic in midlife as well. So those are some of the things that people should be aware of as you start to kind of transition. Midlife by definition is 40 to 65. So people kind of, your body starts doing this change dance in your 40s or so. Some people aren't as fortunate. I started that in 65, and that's because of the stress levels that we have and how we manage our stress. I'm not going to postulate, there are so many different ways to deal with a lot of the symptoms that we deal with. For example, a lot of people start off with insomnia. That's one of the first things in perimenopause that people deal with. And people are like, oh, I'm taking melatonin or I'm taking sleepy time tea. If you've got it really bad, you're not going to be able to sleep. Like I'm working in Ohio right now. I have not been able to sleep for the last 3 months. So there are ways that things that I lean into. And everyone's going to have to try different things. There is hormone replacement therapy as well as bioidentical therapy. Some things that you can try with that. One of the things that I talk about with people a lot is be clear, get counseling, have a circle, have a coach. I coach people. I have groups and webinar workshops for women who are curious, women who are in premenopause, who don't know what's coming. One of the things that I'm going to share that's a misnomer about menopause is your menopausal journey is going to be exactly the way your mother says. That's not how it works. Out of 5 women in my family, my mother, my mother's sister, her other sister, my cousin, my sister, my aunt, 6 women. I'm the only person who had every single symptom. I'm the only person who had it as severely as I did. There are factors that contribute to that. So don't compare yourself or your menopausal journey to that of your other friends or people around you. Another thing, our diet. People of color, we tend to eat a lot of animal, a lot of flesh. Flesh is not your friend.
Right.
And a lot of the junk food and the sugar that we eat is not healthy for us if you want to move through menopause without a lot of weight gain, because your body's already going to be predisposed to gaining weight. So start to eliminate some of those things out of your diet, like the sugar, the whites, the meat. and start to change how you're eating and dieting. What else could I share with you about that? One of the big things that my thrust is now is that as people struggle through menopause and andropause, that's just one part of that transit in this midlife journey. Midlife is comprised of a lot of, at least a strong 10 different variables that make things difficult. The things that are obvious are sex, sleep, stress, weight, pain, and mindset. Those are the real obvious things. But when you really drill down and look at midlife as it is, and this defies color or culture. It's things like physical changes, how we deal with the physical changes. I don't care if you were thicker than a Snicker in your 20s, it increases when you get into your 40s and your 50s. Things like having to deal with career and ambition and that mental kind of battle with, did I do what I thought I was going to do? These were the goals when I was 20 and when I was in my teens or my 30s. I didn't accomplish that. Or was I ambitious enough? Things like relationships. One of the things that I noted as I started kind of digging into this was that a lot of people ended up divorced between 40 and that 50, that late 50. Some people just made it wrong in their 30s. So they were just gonna, it was like, oh, your picker's bad. But people who are had gotten to 30, they're in their 40s or 50s, and all of a sudden their relationships break up, are because of some of these things, these challenges hormonally and emotionally that people are struggling with in midlife. That sense of the relationship struggles because identity and your self-reflection becomes a concern. Who am I now? Have I done what I'm supposed to do? Another thing that becomes a big bubble is people's sexual identity. You'll notice that there are a lot of people get into their 40s and their 50s and start to question their sexuality. So that's another thing that also impacts relationships. And that also kind of speaks to spiritual flux as well, where people start to, as they question their own selves, they start to question all the values and the things that they've held dear. Mortality and aging is another. You really start to, when you're out there, you go out and you go to that roller skating party, that 70s party, and you're out there, it's like, bam! And it's like, oh, I broke my arm, I broke my hip, or you're just not the same. And then you realize, it's like, dear God, I could have really gotten hurt. And you don't rebound in the same way that you did. Or that you realize that you look at that picture on Instagram when your memories flip up and they say, this 10 years ago or 5 years ago today, this, and you're like, oh my God, what happened? It's, and then there's that come to Jesus with, it's not the same. You're not the same. Things are changing. Social comparison, social media is the devil. Excuse me. We're always looking at what the Joneses have, where they've gone, what they're doing. And then it comes up to that career and ambition. And then there's that cycle that starts again. Financial pressures, those are also impacts of midlife. And that will then again loop up and impact the relationships, as well as that sense of identity. So it's that when we talk about, you reference the midlife crisis, you also want to pack in that caring for your parents. Because in that 40 to 60, you are now what I like to call that aging 360. Now, I say to people, think about, remember when you went to the pediatrician and your mom put you on the table, excuse me, and she's sitting there and you're sitting there waiting for the doctor to come in, and the nurse comes in and you're swinging your legs, and she's like, if you're a good girl, the doctor or the nurse will give you a lollipop at the end of the visit. And then fast forward 40 years later, you're helping your mom and your dad get on the table. And you're trying to make sure that they're secure, and you're the person sitting in the chair answering questions. That's a moment.
Yeah.
That's one of those moments where you
Yeah.
kind of go, oh wow,
Mm.
this is
Yeah.
deep. This is you don't anticipate or expect that.
Right.
Um, it's all of that plus navigating the transitions and then the existential, like, where is God? What is happening? You know, my husband, child, mother, blah, blah, blah is sick, and where are you, God? And what is happening? And
Mhm.
those are the things, those are the factors that start
Yeah.
to, when put in that pot, make that stew of a midlife crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
that's what I do. My podcast is
Yeah.
about that. The coaching that I do is about that. Um, and we support men and women who are in this too, who are looking for a community um, of support, of answers. We have resources, doctors, financial people, of kind of everybody. Sex therapist,
Mm-hmm.
because that becomes a thing. One of the things I put up on Instagram recently is with andropause comes erectile dysfunction.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with menopause comes vaginal dryness. And these
Mm-hmm.
are all realities that we deal with, but it's like, how healthy is our communication
Right.
and how we see ourselves and how we feel about ourselves. So that's what I do. That's my passion, as you can
Yeah.
tell. I love it. And all of the aspects of it.
Yeah.
It's the thing that my gift to give back.
Awesome. So she has a live podcast, and tell the information again how they can connect with you on your podcast.
Well, up until September the 16th, we will be broadcasting live on Mondays, Midlife Mondays,
Mm-hmm.
at 8:35 on Instagram, on my social network, which is Wink Blink Flirt. All of this was born out of wink, blinking, flirting. Losing the ability to do that birthed all of this. Um, and the podcast, you'll be able to subscribe and download the podcast on Apple and Spotify on starting on September the 16th. And so I hope you join us. Um, there's a community of people out there waiting to kind of hold your hand, help give you answers about
Mm-hmm.
every aspect of midlife, and all of the challenges that you'll come into. So come join the conversation.
Awesome. Love that. And let's end with some words of encouragement.
In terms of words of encouragement, menopause and andropause is not a destination, it's a journey.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not changing. The most important thing, if I leave you with nothing else, your body and you are not changing, you are evolving. This
Mm.
is the point in time in your life where you evolve into the best, most magnificent version of you. Everything on this journey is chock full of lessons to get you to the most outstanding version of yourself.
I love that. You're involving, evolving. I love that. Awesome, awesome. Check her out on her podcast, y'all. She has a lot of great, great information to share with you. Thank you so much for sharing, because a lot of people don't talk about that, even though it happens to everybody. So I thank you for the insight and sharing that. So you guys make sure you stay connected with Miss Karen Jones and her podcast, and any questions you have. She's always open to hear and answer those as well. So I'm excited. Awesome. Make sure you guys like and share this broadcast as well. So Miss Karen, thank you for being my
Thank you
guest
for
on
having me.
today. You're very welcome. I appreciate you. And we will be right back. We're going to end with some videos, and then I'll be right back to you. So thank you again for being my guest. Hold tight, and you guys make sure you like and share this broadcast. I am Deloris Williams with Divine Connections. Make sure you stay connected to the number one, Divine Connected, Jesus Christ. Hold tight.
Hey, we've got exciting news from Divine Connections Marketing Services. Now you can create your own custom video commercial for your business or organization. It's time for you to win. Your product or service is someone's solution. So get the attention of your potential customers now. Choose from a 30 or 60-second commercial today. Just email us at divineconnectionsmagazine@gmail.com and we can get started. Connect today and let's get started making your custom video commercial now. Divine Connections magazine. Get major exposure for your business. Is someone looking for your service? Do you need networking? Are you a gospel artist or a ministry? Do you have a major event that you want to promote? Divine Connections magazine has the solution for you. We can distribute to residents, businesses, churches, and online. Don't miss this opportunity to expand your marketing locally and around the world. Find out more about us at divineconnectionsmagazine.com. Get your spot in the next issue of Divine Connections magazine by emailing us for details at divineconnectionsmagazine@gmail.com.
Make sure to like us on Facebook at Divine Connections Marketing. Follow us on Instagram at Divine Connections.
Let's get it started now.